From the Wellness Center on the campus of Worcester State University, we welcome you to championship basketball on Rivalry Family Media. So happy to have you along with us for what is promising to be a dandy. It's the Division I Central Mass Boys Final. Winner tonight moves on to the state level tournaments. And tonight we've got a dandy for you, as mentioned, as the top seed St. John's Pioneers, a story of survival in their game against Leominster in the semifinal has brought them to this point. Top seed in the finals where they've been so many times before. 21 district, now known as sectional championships before, the last one in the year 2016. Meanwhile, the opposition for the Pioneers, the 6-seeded Panthers from Franklin, this year's Cinderella story. Franklin has beat the 11 seed in Doherty 77-59 in the opening round of the playoffs, then beat the 3 seed Natick 66-63 in the quarterfinals. Then they beat the 2 seed Worcester South 45-42 earlier this week to bring them to Worcester State University with an opportunity to compete for the Central Section Championship. Alongside Bill Thomas and Kate Robbins, Todd Robbins for RFM. And again, as we said, happy to have you along with us for what promises to be nothing short of electric throughout the next couple of hours. 2 student sections that, well, let's just say they performed as well as their teams did on the basketball floor. So we expect an environment unlike any other you've seen in the recent years in high school athletics. Should be a lot of fun inside the Wellness Center, this beautiful, recently built facility, only a handful of years old, makes a great place to contest this Division I Central Sectional Final on this night. Bill Thomas, here we go. Cinderella Franklin. Been there before, St. John's. One of them has to come out with a win tonight.
Well, I tell you, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, St. John's looked much stronger in the semifinals. We saw both games. We saw Franklin while we were setting up last week, and then, of course, St. John's we had to endure. But just the 2 big guys, I don't know what Franklin's going to do to answer those 2 guys. We saw him take over the game. San Fratello, along with T.J. Power, just took over the game. They were down 16 against Leominster midway through the third quarter, and they ended up winning by 13. And I don't think it was even that close at the end. But they fed the beast. The beast came through. Those 2 guys combined for 65 of St. John, total of 82. I don't know what Franklin's going to do to stop them. Double team them, triple team them, foul them every time they have the ball. But that might work. TJ had 12 free throws. Putting them on the line doesn't work, so we'll have to see what strategy Franklin's going to deploy tonight.
Kate, I'll see if you want to disagree with our broadcast partner here, Bill Thomas, in the sense that he said he thought St. John's looked like the more dominant team in the semifinal. I tended to believe the Cinderella looked more dominant. Yes, it was only a 3-point victory over Worcester South, but they certainly seemed to control that basketball game a heck of a lot more than St. John's did. We termed it survive and advance. They were up against the ropes. It was the best challenge they faced all year in Leominster. In that semifinal playoff game, they survived and advanced by waking up in the fourth quarter.
And waking up they did. T.J. Power essentially waking up in the fourth quarter for St. John's, having 22-plus points in the fourth quarter alone to bring St. John's over the top against Leominster. We watched the Franklin boys play as well on that same night earlier in the evening, and they looked absolutely electric, especially from their guard, Chris Edgehill. He plays with an immense amount of intensity out on the court. He's clearly their general out there for Franklin, and the way of his emotions and the way of their fan base, it's going to be very, very intense in here tonight.
I wasn't trying to ignore you, Kate. I wanted to actually activate Bill Thomas's camera so we could see these
I'm working on the crowd
starting their cheers already this evening, which says all. Here they come. Here come the student sections as they begin their cheering out on the floor. So much excitement to come and so many different ways to participate on Rivalry Family Media. This game By MIAA policy, available in live-to-tape delay coming up on a Saturday night, so one-day delay. Facebook.com/Media Rivalry is where you found your way to for this broadcast coverage. Meanwhile, you can get the game on demand on YouTube as well. Subscribe, Rivalry Family Media on YouTube. Get all the games on demand that we cover and then some. And Twitter for more information and broadcasts coming up. Twitter.com/Media Rivalry. Those are the ways to participate here on RFM. We're so happy to have you a part of our family for this one this evening. As we take a look at those student sections and the capacity crowd filing in here, we'll take a look at that road we talked about just a series of moments ago. I want to pull up that bracket, so bear with me just for a moment here as we move some things around.
As you're doing that, Todd,
go ahead, Kate.
Billy, if you take a look at the entrances for us to your right, obviously across the way we have both of the very intense fan bases that are going to be absolutely jam-packed. But we have a full stream of people coming in, not one, but two separate entrances into the gymnasium, and they're coming in by the dozens and dozens. We're not even close to being done with the amount of people that are going to be coming into this gymnasium tonight. This is going to be, by definition, an absolute bandbox tonight. And again, both cheering sections are going to be in sync. They're going to be synchronous, basically, against one another, but for their own teams. They have been loud and proud already, going through just warm-ups. They're warming up as well. They're getting ready for this one. I'm hoping that they're loud, they're proud, and they're positive. That's the only thing that I hope.
I will tell you, the gym says capacity 2,500.
We'll be
Those
well
numbers
on
are going to be tested tonight.
I was going to say we'll take them to the nth degree, and of course the layout here for seating has not only the seating on either sideline of the basketball court, but each end line has small sets
Very
of
unique.
seating as
cool.
well. Much more like a small college arena that it is here at Worcester State University. Let's take a look at that road to the Central Sectional Championship here in Division I. We mentioned the Pioneers. They were the top seed. They got an opening round bye, and then they went into the quarterfinal matchup with 9th-seeded Algonquin. A 63-41 victory there for Pioneers, who advanced onto the semifinals. Meanwhile, in the semifinal, the Pioneers, they downed Leominster 82-67 to put themselves in to the Division I championship here at Worcester State University tonight. Meanwhile, for Franklin, you got to go to that bottom corner of the bracket to work your way forward in order to find them. 6-seeded Franklin took on 11-seed Doherty. We mentioned 77-59. That the first victory. They then advanced to the quarterfinals. A Natick team, 3-seed overall against Franklin. Of course, we know Natick's been the home of some great basketball. They drop a heartbreaker in the quarterfinals by a 66-63 score. So then Franklin, this Cinderella 6-seed, advances to the semifinals, and then they take down a strong Worcester South team by a 45-42 score and set up this 1-versus-6 Division I Central Mass final. You look at the regular season records that brought them to this point. St. John's was 18-2 in the regular season. Franklin was 15-5. Current records 22-2 for the Pioneers. Panthers 18-5. Tells you a lot about the story of these two teams.
Well, not only does it tell you a lot about the story of the two teams, but it also tells you, because of kind of the redistricting that's been going on of late in the MIAA with regard to Central versus East versus West, Franklin's schedule primarily, if you take a look at it, are Eastern Mass teams for the most part. And so I think that that's indicative of where their record might be, which then places them in the 6th seed in Central Mass. So with the statewide tournament that has been approved coming up in the next few years, things could very much change for everybody involved, especially a very strong Franklin team that has primarily Eastern Mass schedule. So I'm going to be interested to see how things change with seedings coming up in the next few years. But I certainly don't discount that number 6 of Franklin, but you also can't leave out that St. John's earned that number 1 spot as well.
High school sports provides an extension of the classroom where students learn to pursue excellence, the value of working with others toward a common goal, playing within the structure of established rules, discipline, loyalty, and emotional control. The MIAA urges you to demonstrate your support for these values and for our young people by attending high school competitions in your community. The Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association, building the future through athletics as we welcome you back up high above courtside here at the Wellness Center on the campus of Worcester State University. Continuing here with RFM, counting you down to St. John's and Franklin. It's going to be a wonderful battle when these two teams take the floor coming up in a handful of minutes from now. It's hard to compare the two. You know, we were looking for common opponents and we were talking about this. We did find the one. St. John's battled Doherty down in Worcester, not far from here, on Friday, January the 31st. That was a 64-38 St. John's win, part of their 22 wins to this point in the season. Meanwhile, we mentioned Franklin. That was their opening round game, a 6-seeded Franklin against an 11-seeded Doherty, a 77-59 Franklin victory. So transitive property of sports. Bill Thomas, you always enjoy applying the transitive property of sports. What does that tell us about these two teams? They both took down victories over a strong Doherty team this year.
Doherty's not that strong.
All right, fair
enough.
That's
all I can say. You know what? You can't look at Doherty's record, and we see a transition against all sports. They kind of play an up-and-down schedule. I'm surprised Doherty was even on St. John's schedule, where they skipped Leominster and some of the other Central Mass D1 schools. It doesn't surprise me that they took Doherty in such fashion.
You know what I think, though, is I think it's very indicative of the fact that you can't take a look at that 1 versus 6 seed and just assume, oh, Cinderella story. This Franklin team's not coming out of the ether into this one and riding a wave of recent success. They play an incredibly intense schedule. The one common opponent is very similar outcome for both teams. You can talk about the amount of points that each team scored offensively. Both, again, we see prolific offenses out there. Franklin gave up a few extra points, a few more points on defense than St. John's did. So I'm going to be very, very interested to see just how well matched these two teams are, because I don't take that 1 and that 6 and think anything of it, because I don't think that it's indicative of what we're seeing out on the court tonight. I think that common opponent in Doherty shows very much just how closely matched these two teams are going to be tonight.
I think we can't also here prior to the game avoid talking about the coaching matchup here.
Correct.
Franklin's coach C.J. Neely going to match up tonight against, in basketball, the legendary Central Mass basketball coach that is still active out on the floor today, in longtime head coach Bob Foley, senior of St. John's. Certainly, he's seen good teams before. He's prepared his teams for, good teams before.
Yep.
He knows how to put things together. Bill Thomas, I'm sure tonight in preparing his team, they were there. They had the second game of the doubleheader. They saw Franklin play Worcester South. They've got all the notes they need to understand this Franklin team.
Oh, they do, and I'm sure they're going to be well prepared. And, and once again, the Cinderella story that Franklin can play like they have nothing to lose. Nobody expected them to be here. They've knocked off the 3. They've knocked off the 2. Now they're looking to knock off the 1. And I'm sure St. John's is well aware of that, how Franklin's worked his way up the ladder, and they don't want to be the third rung in the hat trick for Franklin. So they're going to do everything they can, but the coach is going to preach, let's not wait till the middle of the third quarter to wake up. They waited way too long to get the game in gear last week. And, we saw them deploy that press, and I think it turned the game around, although they didn't stick with it. Got Leominster out of the game a little bit. I expect to see some of that. High pressure, very upbeat offensively and defensive attack from St. John's.
Adjustments was something you talked about in that St. John's game against Leominster, because we saw them adjust to a full court defense to pressure the ball a little bit more, try to create some Leominster mistakes. They were able to get back in the basketball game in the first half doing that. Then they went away from it, and one of the things you pointed out in that broadcast is what it seemed like Bob Foley's strategy was not so much find something that works and keep it. It was keep moving the mark. Okay, we're going to full court pressure you. Now we're going to half court pressure you. Now we're going to move here. Now we're going to move there. And that moving target of how Leominster had to devise and move the basketball was ultimately their undoing.
Well, I think what they were able to do is control the energy and control the momentum by dictating how the flow of the game was going to go. And they used that when they were behind to regain that momentum to get ahead. But when they did get ahead, they kept changing up, and Leominster didn't have an answer for them, whether it was the press, whether it was the man-to-man, or they were running a 2-3 zone. And if you're not hitting your outside shots, that zone's going to pack in. You got no answer inside. We'll have to see how Franklin deals with that tonight. Offensively, they only scored 45 points in their semifinal against a tough team against opponent, South, I think it was, in that. But they got to score more than 45 tonight against it. They got to find a way to at least get up into the 60s, maybe even 70, because St. John's will be there in the 60s.
Kate, the one thing that the Pioneers know every time they take the floor, whether it's a preseason game, whether it's a regular season game, or it's a playoff game, they're going to get the best swing from their opponent
Yeah.
they ever can. Teams get up to play St. John's. Doesn't matter the sport. I always use that equation, football, basketball, tiddlywinks. You have St. John's on your schedule. You know they're going to be the best they possibly can be athletically in whatever that competition is. And whoever you are that are going to take them on, you're going to have to play your best game. And meanwhile, when you're St. John's preparing, you're preparing for the best swing your opposition can take.
And that's certainly true, especially here in Central Massachusetts. If you take a look at the Central Mass Division I champions over the course of from 1960 all the way through 2020, 20 Central Mass Division I championships for St. John's of Shrewsbury. That's no laughing matter. That is for serious. And as you said, every single time you have a sporting event between St. John's and fill in the blank, that team is going to get up. And not only that, take a look. Their boys hockey team has been in the deep into the districts. Obviously, their boys basketball team deep into the district play as well. And so that's something that's perennial. That's an every single year situation for them, and it doesn't change.
Indeed it is. RFM is your source for the Division I Central Mass Sectional Championship. We will have every play coming up for you. The crowd already
waving at
electric
each other.
here.
Yo!
We are ready for basketball. And
There's
basketball,
a reason there's caution tape
will
dividing.
get, indeed. And we're going to get everything they can and then some as we get ready for action here inside the Wellness Center on the campus of Worcester State University. Opening introductions coming up in a moment. Stand by. This is RFM.
Division I District Finals. Ensure that your behaviors reflect the values that should be identified with these student athletes.
Playoff action and opening introduction coming here on RFM. We've got more action for you. Tip-off to come, first player introductions and the national anthem. We join the public address announcer here at Worcester State University.
And now your starting lineups for number 1 seed St.
Well, if that isn't indicative of what we can expect for the rest of the night, student sections were so energized, so loud, they drowned out the public address announcer here inside of Worcester State University. This is going to be a war. My.
I will say,
Bloodbath.
we made a great strategical maneuver pregame to swap sides.
There is no question about that. Previously, when we've worked here at Worcester State, we've worked looking at the benches, so the opposite side of the floor where the student sections are. Quickly realizing how this crowd was going to be in place, we decided it was time to move, and the family picked everything up, and around we went as the story goes. We're ready for tip-off here at Worcester State University.
People continue to stream in. Absolutely stream in. And here we go.
And the ball is up. Tip controlled by the Pioneers. And basketball on here at Worcester State University. Pioneers start their usual starting five. San Fratello, Bengadozo, Knight, Power, and Daniels out on the floor. Right now, white tops, white bottoms, trimmed in red. Three-pointer away from the left corner. Bengadozo doesn't go. And the rebound down for Edgehill. Edgehill was an intense ball player. He was driving a lot of the action the other night against Alf.
All emotion with that kid right there. All emotion.
Meanwhile,
Intense.
Franklin, similar starting five that they played against Worcester South with. Pass dropped the inside. Jumper swatted away by Power. Starting five for the Panthers. John Rudolph, Stephen Carrion, Chris Edgehill, Matt Lazarek, and Braden Sullivan get the starts. Foul called on the offense. Ball back to the Pioneers, and the red and white faithful love it. I'm not entirely sure we're going to be able to hear each other throughout the night.
What an atmosphere tonight, Todd and Kate.
Knight running point, drops the ball off to Daniels, half court to the right, and here come the Panther fans. Head fake and drive from Knight. Stopped at the left elbow. Entry pass in a quadruple team. Power pulls up the jumper. Rebound down in the hands of Daniel. Inside Knight, a little head fake and missed the bunny on the doorstep. Another opportunity with another Daniels rebound, and the Pioneer possession continues for a third opportunity. They try an entry pass, this time tipped away. Edgehill with the loose basketball. Edgehill runs the floor, finger roll, short of the mark. Daniels with the basketball. Guns up floor, three-quarter arm finds Power. Power gets fouled, no call, loose basketball. Edgehill has it going back the other way.
Both teams clearly feeling each other out right now and trying to get their feet under them. A lot of nerves out there right now.
Rudolph a drive, tipped down by San Fratello. He had the last touch when it crossed the baseline. Panthers keep the basketball.
Two guys making, big guys making their defensive presence felt early on.
Our graphic is functioning fine. We're 2 minutes into this basketball game. There has been no scores. Three away for Carrion, and that's short of the mark.
That'll wake up the crowd.
Rebound for Bengadozo.
Number of shots that have not even made it to the basket for both teams right now. You can clearly see they don't have the touch. They don't have their feet under them quite yet.
You can certainly imagine the environment, the loudest they've either have played in front of.
So
Another
many turnovers.
Carrion knocks the ball away. Nice clean play. Able to reach around, get his hand in front to deny ball.
3 turnovers apiece right now for both of these teams and no points.
It's Edgehill. Triple threat position, drive, foul line, spins, draws contact from Power. He may have lost possession of the basketball going up, but they say 2 shots, and Edgehill's going the line.
He might have got bailed out there, a little out of control down the lane, but nonetheless, get a couple of shots from the free throw line. 0-0, 2.5 minutes in.
How about that?
Go figure.
Not able to hear who the fouls are on right now, but I know that it's team first. It was on Power.
It was on Power. And we have a point.
We certainly
As
do.
Edgehill drains the first free throw, 2.5 minutes into the basketball game to draw first blood for the Panthers. Good form again from Edgehill with the finish at the basket. 2-0 lead for the Panthers. And up floor comes Knight. To Daniel. Both teams shooting in front of their opposition student sections. They'll shoot in front of their own student sections
Look
in the
at
second
the
half.
swarm.
Nowhere to go
defensive
in the
swarm.
double team. Back to the top, the key 3 away will not go for O'Byrne, and a foul is called on Carrion. They say it's on the floor. They say it's a hold, so it'll be a side out. Side out for St. John's.
It's going to be Carrion's first. It's going to be team second for Franklin in the early going.
Knight drops the ball off for Daniels. Daniels little head fake, swinging around through Knight. Corner O'Byrne, lefty the 3, front rim no. Ball tipped by Carrion into the Panther bench, and the ball will stay with St. John's. 4:55 to play here in quarter number 1. Just the 2 free throws from Chris Edgehill of Franklin. That's the difference in the basketball game. O'Byrne gets the inbound. He was the 6th man off the bench against Leominster in the semifinal. Same tonight. Power, long way from the basket, top of the key. Crossover dribble, inside find for O'Byrne, and an offensive foul call. Power unloaded the basketball, found the way into the hands of O'Byrne for the easy lay-in, and ran over a defender in front of him.
And that's going to be Power's second foul, I believe.
They
TJ
said
Power.
it was his first.
Oh, that's his first.
So they didn't bill the
They
first
didn't
one,
bill
too.
the
He got a
first one
break
to him.
there.
Indeed, he did.
I'm listening very
Good heads up,
carefully in
Kate.
between.
Token full court pressure from the Pioneers.
That's going to be difficult. They're not putting the fouls up for us, and you can't hear anything in here.
Sullivan, a find in the corner for Walmsley. Shot short of the mark, Power the rebound. Here comes Power now. On the gas, step through, drop in the corner, O'Byrne kept it alive. Now Bangadoza, drive, find O'Byrne, skidded on the baseline. Out of bounds, and the ball back to Franklin.
I think it's pretty clear to see that Franklin is not going to let Power beat them. They will double and triple team him and let anybody else have the basketball. They will not let TJ Power beat them in the early going.
You know, I thought Leominster didn't do enough of that the other night, Kate. You know, I front them and get them from behind and just harass them.
Walmsley over his head looking for an option. Swings it back around on the outside through Lazarek. Sullivan finds Rudolph for a 3. Front rim no. Rebound pulled down by Daniels.
Still 2-0. 3 minutes and 47 seconds left in the first, and it's still 2-0.
Who would have had 2-0? So much for needing more than 45 points tonight, Bill Thomas.
That's still early. Remember, St. John's only had 29 at the half against Leominster.
Bangadozo for Power a 3. Rattled hard out. The rebound down in the hands of Walmsley.
Now, Bangadoso had the look there from three-point range and decided to dish it off. I still think you're seeing some nerves out there with some of these student athletes, and with the 2-0 game, they're getting tight.
Rudolph with the leaner, but they say he skidded the pivot foot, and the ball goes back to the Pioneers.
The amount of turnovers right now. Franklin already with 4. St. John's already with 4. Only 2 points on the board. We've got 2 fouls apiece. This is insane.
A lot of offensive mistakes, offensive nerves early on.
Down the floor comes Knight running the point. Knight, little bounce skip for O'Byrne. And O'Byrne takes the time working on Edgehill. Sets up a Knight 3.
Finally.
Tees it up and drills it. And the Pioneers are on the board. 5 minutes gone by in the first quarter. They hit their first 3-pointer and take a 1-point lead.
Incredible defense by St. John's right now, keeping Franklin out at the perimeter.
Edgehill, nice drive, good body control. High off glass and down and in. Franklin reclaims the lead, and back and forth we go. 2.5 to play here in the first quarter.
And the people continue to stream. There are no seats.
Inside Power. He got fouled, they say, on the way up. So it looks like Power's got 2 shots coming from the line.
It actually looks like they've stopped him at the entrance and not letting him come into the gym anymore. Crazy crowd here tonight.
In both directions, they are standing capacity shoulder to shoulder, just trying to find an empty seat. Don't see a lot of blue out there.
The MIA does not want people on the end lines in the balcony, but they're having trouble controlling that too.
They don't have a choice.
At this point, they don't really.
Power hits the front end to knot the game at 4. 2:32 to play here in the first quarter.
This place is going to be, oh my goodness. Just, oh my goodness.
What a phenomenal environment
I have no
for a
words.
sectional championship. Power knew it was good off his fingertips. Back down floor he heads, Pioneers back on top 5-4. Sullivan into front court. Working on Bangadozo. Sullivan found some room into the corner. Sets up a three from Gasparo. Not on the mark. To the floor goes the battle. Held ball is the call. Alternate possession favors Franklin.
Two St. John's players battling for the ball there. I'm surprised nobody called timeout real quick.
Yeah.
Right in front of the St. John's bench.
They reset the shot clock as there was lost possession, and Franklin gets a fresh 30. Three-pointer for Sullivan in the left corner. Doesn't go. Daniels another rebound. Charles Daniels has been all over the boards on both ends of the floor in the early going of this one.
Right now, St. John's out-rebounding Franklin 7-2.
Knight took a look, another three. This one got back rim, and the rebound down with Franklin. Edgehill sets up Sullivan, and now into the corner. Byfield. Inside Gasparo. Saw a flashing Edgehill, didn't hit him. Walmsley sets up Byfield. Free, no good. Rebound tipped into the hands of Knight. Knight the drive. Dish, Bangadozo. A little bunny from the wing. Won't go. Loose ball rebound. Pulled down by Gasparo.
Turnover number 6 for St. John's.
To the basket goes Walmsley. Misses another one on the doorstep. And a rebound down for San Fratello. And now Power. Offensive foul. And the ball back to Franklin. That is definitively the second foul on Power.
Kind of saw that developing from the top of the key right there. He had his eyes on the basket. No stopping him except the defensive player.
Has a conversation with the official. He's trying to understand what the concern is.
It is officially his second, team third for the Pioneers, and he is having had an intense conversation with the officials. Coach Foley sitting and talking with him on the bench.
Walmsley launches the three from the right. It won't go. Tipped rebound on the inside away from Byfield. A couple of Pioneers in there. Knight comes out with it in transition. Knight throws on the brakes. Great credit right now for Franklin's defense. They're getting down floor, setting up that fence, forcing the ball to stop and cycle back outside. San Fratello pulls up a three. Off angle, but got the three to go. 30 seconds to play here in the first quarter. Pioneers lead 4. The drive inside for Rudolph, laid in and good. Cut the lead to 2.
Nice sharp angle through the lane there. St. John's falling asleep defensively.
The only easy basket of the quarter for either team.
Shot clock off. San Fratello said it was poked away. Looked like inside Daniel last touched it. There's no help on the baseline. Now the officials are going to get together here. The official in the trail position says no.
No change on the call.
And there is an overrule on the floor.
Oh, they did. Where'd that come from?
They did not point it. The center positioned official, midway between the baseline and the transition point, went down to the baseline, talked to the lead official, and they reversed the call. Would have liked to have seen a big emphatic point on the reversal as well.
I would like to, a little more information, but as long as they get it right.
Indeed. The ball back to Franklin. It was the correct call. Shot clock off. Panthers with the basketball. 10 seconds left in the quarter. Edgehill steps away from Knight. Edgehill, step to his left, pull up three. He hits with 3 seconds to play in the quarter. A pick, but Gasparo throws up a three at the horn. It would have been good if it went. It rattled out.
Wow.
And through one quarter in the Division I Central Sectional Final, Franklin with a 9-8 lead over the Pioneers.
I didn't have 9-8 in the pool. I'll tell you that right now. But I tell you, a lot of end-to-end action, not a lot of scoring, but plenty of action that first quarter.
A flurry of action, to say the least, here on RFM. So many ways to participate. Facebook.com/Media Rivalry. Follow us there for all of our live coverage. And then on demand, you can subscribe to Rivalry Family Media on YouTube, as well as follow us on Twitter @Media Rivalry. So many ways to play as part of the extended RFM family.
You know, we were joking about him. Looks like to stop the crowd from coming in, but I don't know where there's no seats left.
They're not
It's
stopping.
crazy.
They're not stopping the crowd from coming in.
A well-rounded education is one that is not only academically oriented, but one that also includes physical, social, and emotional development. Interscholastic athletics provides the other half of education. The MIAA encourages you to support your local high school athletic teams throughout the year. Building the future through athletics. The MIAA. Second 8 minutes up on the board, 9-8 Franklin as we get set to start the second quarter. It'll be Pioneer basketball.
So even in addition to the fact that Franklin is up by 1 point, I feel like they win that quarter because they hold TJ Power and the Bigs of St. John's to just 2 points in the first quarter. He had 22 points in the fourth quarter against Leominster in their last game.
And that closing flurry certainly made all the difference. O'Byrne gets a look at a three and hits in the face of Rudolph.
His first contribution to the stat sheet.
Rudolph goes down against Bangadozo, but the ball stays with Frank. Good find with a slashing Edgehill. Fouled on the way up. Edgehill's going to the line for 2 shots.
Let me get my mic back here. The Franklin offense doing a good job moving the ball around, and they're finding pass down the lane, continuing to get themselves to the basket. They're just going to convert those layups.
Edgehill to the line. We mentioned he has great form, shooting right in front of the Pioneer student section. He hits the first to close the game within 1.
He's the one that needs to be stopped for Franklin if St. John's is going to be victorious.
Rimmed out that time. 3 of 4, Kate, if I'm not mistaken, for Edgehill from the line.
3 of 4 is correct.
And Knight brings the ball up floor, drops it off for Bangadozo. Now Sanfratello, who certainly was a big figure in the game against Leominster. He drives. That foul is on the floor as far as contact goes.
And I believe that's against Sullivan. It's going to be his first, team 4th for Franklin.
Knight from a little farther out off the corner of the basket. Long 4 count. Finds an inbound for O'Byrne. Jump, stop, kick. Bangadozo, 3 from the left side. Hard rim in and out. Power tipped it to Sanfratello on the rebound. And Sanfratello hits a 2 in the wing.
Sanfratello right now with a team-high 5 points for the Pioneers in the early going here.
Lazarek with the underhand for Carrion. Back out to Rudolph. Wide open 3. And buries it. And Lazarek looks at the St. John student section and reminds him that goes 3 up on the board. We're knotted at 13, a minute gone by in the second quarter. Power gets the handle, sets up an O'Byrne 3. Front rim, no. Rebound down for Bangadozo. Back up with it, took some contact, no call. Spun out of the rebound, does Lazarek.
Power has been kept so far away from that basket thus far tonight for St. John's. It's been impressive.
Sullivan got an open look and hits. 16-13 Franklin. 6:20 to play here in the second quarter. O'Byrne off the bounce through Knight. Sanfratello fade away. Front rim, no. Rebound loose. Picked up by Sullivan and in transition to Edgehill. Edgehill 1-on-2 down the floor. Threw up the shot against Power and then tripped up on the play as Knight as he just runs into Edgehill on the floor. Into the corner. Bangadozo, good body control, but shorted the shot. And the rebound down for Lazarek. Slowing the action, here comes Rudolph. Rudolph swings the basketball for Carrion. Playing catch with Sullivan, top of the key. Edgehill flashes foul line, working on Knight. Spun off, a little contact, jumper, off the right side, no. Power the rebound. Talk about control of the action, Bill Thomas.
Power's got to be careful here. He is playing with 2 fouls early on.
Bangadozo butts the dust. That foul's away from the ball.
He and Edgehill have been going at it on both ends of the court, and both of them have been letting each other know that they're there, and it's starting to get a little flagrant.
Substitutes on the floor. The officials on top of it.
Stepping in, yeah, absolutely. You know, we've seen this group of officials before, and they do a good job of maintaining control. Saw them in some really big games early in the season.
And you're going to see more of them as the year continues. Sanfratello, foul line jumper, bothered by Sullivan. Ends up being a great pass inside to Daniels, who creates space, lays it in and good. Back down floor, Carrion. Got his angle pushed off by Sanfratello, but hit the basket from the left side.
What body control in the air right there. Nice job.
6 seed over 1 seed. Franklin on top of St. John's by an 18-15 mark. Daniels got a little fancy, lost the handle. Inside it got tipped by Walmsley, and the basketball will find its way to Sullivan. Sullivan, foul line, now decides to go left through Lazarick. Puts it in the hands of Walmsley and hits the left-hand three. Head coach Bob Foley's off the bench. It brings the Franklin student section to its feet. Timeout, Pioneers.
Yeah, both student sections have been quiet at times, but it doesn't take much to wake them up. That was an eye-opener right there. They're bouncing.
You can see them over in that corner.
Enough, they were quiet until the middle of the second half against Leominster, but when they woke up, they were very vocal. Not much to cheer about right now over there in that red wave.
6-point lead for Franklin, 4:32 to play until halftime. It's Franklin 21 and St. John's 15. Student section color-wise, it's a little hard to tell. St. John's, as we saw on the left of the screen, they are wearing a bright fire engine red and white. Meanwhile, on the other side of the floor, a Patriot theme for the Franklin faithful. So they're wearing red, white, and blue in a series of teams. I saw a Miracle jersey in there somewhere. I see a Washington Wizards jersey in the color of the old Washington Bullets.
Sixers
jersey. And a whole bunch of other red, white, and blue in that Patriot theme student section.
Yeah, we'll get a quick look at St. John's, all in red over here.
Indeed.
Sea of red.
Left side of the floor, the sea of red. They did a full-on black student section against Leominster with the trim of red. This now a red sea of Pioneers, and they're just waiting for the opportunity to explode.
They
Back
do have
section
official
we
in
go.
there too, by
Yes,
the way.
they do. I saw
They've
a
got
zebra,
one. They've got a
or a
zebra.
former Foot Locker employee.
That's
Either way,
right.
the ball tipped inside for Power.
Again, Power being kept along the perimeter. I haven't seen much of him in the paint tonight at all. Kudos to Franklin's defense for flushing him to the outside constantly.
And there he is back out, left side of the key.
They're not letting him anywhere near that basket.
Splits a double team, got just past the left elbow. That was enough room for the jumper to go.
That's a lot of work for 2 points right there.
Under 4 minutes till halftime. The drive for Sullivan. Sullivan looks inside Walmsley. Back top of the key. A three-pointer off the mark for Gasparro, and the rebound down for Sanfratello. Knight for Power. The double team closed on him quickly. He created space to foul line, shorted the shot. Sanfratello missed on the second opportunity, and the rebound down for Carrion. 2 opportunities again for the Pioneers. They've left a lot of potential points on the board in the first half.
Yeah, they got to put those offensive rebounds back through the hoop. They got positions, just not converting.
Another one. Here we go.
Another foul away from the basketball. It's Knight this time that's called for the hold. And the fans fired up on both sides, not happy.
It's getting very physical all along the perimeter as the ball's transitioning around and the screens are being set. Elbows and arms are flying left and right.
Franklin certainly plays an emotional style of basketball, and they have pressed that issue. They pressed it against Worcester South, got them out of their game. Right now they're doing it to the top-seeded Pioneers as well. Edgehill sees the flash from the inside. Sullivan kick it back out top of the key. Carrion, he knew it was good. Put another 3 on the board for Franklin.
Confidence right there.
5 gone by, 3 till halftime. The lead for Franklin, 24-17. O'Byrne working on Sullivan. Now for Daniels. Daniels slings a past Bangadozo 3. He hits falling down, and he gets back up and lets Carrion know about it.
A little bit of talking going on up and down the court there.
There'll be more before this one's out. Edgehill slows the action. You can see Franklin deliberate. Deep launch off the mark for Edgehill. Out of bounds. He was feeling it, decided to try it, missed the mark.
A little too far out there. Not the best choice of shots, but the adrenaline's flowing. Trying to quiet the St. John's faithful.
The officials will delay the action. 2:29 to play in the second quarter. The lead is 4. Half-court defense sets up for Franklin as St. John's crosses. Knight running the point, looking for a screen, decides to go left with the basketball. For O'Byrne, then Bangadozo, Knight gets it back. Bouncing inside Sanfratello, that double team trap. Tip back up top, Bangadozo goes flying across the body of Rudolph. And the block is called against Rudolph.
That was a takedown.
Indeed it was.
It's going to be Rudolph's first. It's team sixth, so the next foul will put St. John's in the bonus.
Knight for Bangadozo, and now Knight working on a double team. Slings it to an open Daniel. He drops it into a double team, and Sanfratello fades away, no good. And a walk called on the rebounding action for Sullivan, and then Sanfratello pokes it away, and the players chirping at one another, the officials closing in. They saw it happen.
Getting a little chippy now.
A little?
The officials have to step back out of the way, and the ball was put ready for play. Power got a look from the left side, and he buried it.
Can't get him from under the basket. Get out beyond the arc.
Closes it to a one-point game.
But if you're Franklin, are you not thrilled that he's that far away from basket?
Yeah, you'll let him shoot out there all night long. If he can beat you from there, tip your cap.
You got that right.
Rudolph, the drive,
Beautiful
drops
pass.
inside. Gasparo, too strong back rim. That got tipped out of the pile and in. Power may have had a finger on it, and those points go for Franklin.
Team effort right there on the offensive boards.
Daniel, the driving kick for Bangadozo, three. Rims out, Sanfratello, strong rebound. Fouled on the way back up, and Sanfratello's got two coming from the line.
Good offensive rebound in there. St. John's has had their way under the basket. They just have not been able to put those offensive rebounds back up for points.
Sullivan's going to pick up his second. That's now going to put St. John's into the bonus. That's going to send Sanfratello to the line.
Right in front of that Franklin student section. Rattles it home, does Sanfratello. Closes it to a two-point basketball game once again. St. John's in bonus the rest of the way. Franklin build with 7 fouls to this point. Sanfratello got the side of the rim right side and got a great bounce, and down it goes. 1-point basketball game once again, 1:15 to play in the second quarter. Rudolph cycles for a three, short of the mark. Ball back to the Pioneers, so a couple of struggles now on back-to-back possessions.
Yeah, and they're forcing that outside shot now, and they've had some success flashing down the lane. I'm surprised they're settling for those types of shots on the offensive end.
Right now, Franklin being out-rebounded 2-1 by St. John's, so not getting a lot of multiple shot possessions on the offensive end.
Powers elevates from the left wing. It doesn't go. Edgehill keeps it alive on the baseline. Under a minute to play until halftime. Fast-moving basketball game here. The drive. Rudolph sets up a Gasparo three. Strokes it.
Found his spot right there.
And the lead is 4 once again. 10-second differential, shot clock to game clock. O'Byrne open on the right block. Kicks back to Daniels. Takes the open three. Side rim, no. Shot clock off. And Coach C.J. Neely throws on the brakes with Edgehill in the backcourt.
Out on the court, I think he was going to take a pass.
Under 20 seconds until halftime. Edgehill just over the midcourt timeline. Now he'll drive. 13 till halftime. Back to midcourt, he retreats. Under 10 seconds until halftime now. Going to be a one-shot opportunity here for Franklin.
And
Edgehill wants to take it.
Yep.
Double clutched, got the shot away. It will not go, but halftime here from the Wellness Center on the campus of Worcester State University. It's Franklin, the 6 seed, 29, and St. John's, the 1 seed, 25. A 4-point lead for the 6 seed at halftime.
I don't know where all the points came from all of a sudden, but both teams started finding get their feeling there on the offensive end. Some good offensive rebound back and forth, but the officials are letting them play. Very minimal number of fouls. Neither team got into the bonus in that first half. I think that's the way it should be.
St. John's did get into the bonus with by 1.
They did. They never got to shoot any of the free throws as well. The Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association is committed to good sportsmanship. Sportsmanship, citizenship, and responsibility are the trademarks of high school activities. Support school activities with your own display of good sportsmanship and help encourage America's youth to accept the responsibility which freedom demands. Support your local high school. See the future of America on display. Attend high school competitions in your community. This message brought to you by the Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association, building the future through athletics. Halftime here from the Wellness Center in the Division I Central Mass Final. Franklin up 4, 29-25 on the top seed St. John's Pioneers. A break and we're back with more. This is RFM.
Attention to mid-court where MIAA basketball tournament staff personnel Mark Donahue, John Jasinski, and Rich Rivalry have assembled. Since 1977, Mr. Roger Bacon has served as an MIAA basketball tournament director, most recently as a Sectional Boys and Girls director. Over these 43 years, Roger has been assisted by his wife of 67 years, Myrtle. Roger will retire as tournament director at the end of this season. At this time, we would like to invite to center court to be recognized for their many years of dedicated service to the MIAA basketball, Roger and Myrtle Bacon. Thank you again, Mr. and Mrs. Bacon, for your many years of service. Outstanding.
Halftime from the Wellness Center on the campus of Worcester State University. Happy to have you a part of our family here on Rivalry Family Media. Franklin on top of St. John, 6 seed over 1 seed, 29-25 at halftime here from the Wellness Center. Back high above courtside at our broadcast position. Todd Robbins, Bill Thomas behind me. Kate Robbins here with you for halftime. And Kate, this is where you kind of bring us up to date. Bring us those stats, and I'll tell you, the things that are going to stand out to me, I'm sure, is the ineffective nature of Power. He did the best he could in the situation that he's been put in, but right now, nobody around him trying to alleviate that problem.
I think we're actually going to be a little bit surprised. Power does have a team-high 7 points, as does San Fratello. It's just that they're not scoring in large enough chunks to be incredibly effective against the swarming defense of Franklin. But as always, let's first take a look at team totals. We'll start with St. John's, 19 rebounds, no steals, 8 turnovers. They've shot 4 of 4 from the charity stripe, so that's 100%. They're down by 4 points total. If we take a look at the individual statistics, San Fratello right now is tied for a team-high 7 points. Bangadozo has 3 points. O'Byrne has 3 points. Knight has 3 points. And TJ Power has tied again for a team-high 7 points. Daniels with 2 points. Now if we take a look at the Franklin Panthers side of the ball, team totals first, 11 rebounds, 2 steals, 8 turnovers. They shot 3 of 4 as a team from the line, so that's 75%. They have a 4-point lead right now. Individual statistics for the Panthers, Rudolph right now with 5 points. Carrion with 5 points. Edgehill with a team-high 8 points. Walmsley with 3 points. Gasparo with 5 points. And Sullivan with 3 points as well. So the only other area other than St. John's out-rebounding Franklin by quite a bit. Right now, St. John's has 6 people that are contributing to the offensive stats sheet. And if you take a look at Franklin, 6 from them as well.
So diversified scoring has been the name of the game. And Bill Thomas, we saw this with Coach Bob Foley at halftime against Leominster in the semifinal. They were down. They went in the locker room. They diagrammed something up. Whatever he had to say, the message was short, sweet, and to the point. They were out here a couple of moments ago, ready to start warming up for the second half.
Oh, I'm sure there are plenty of adjustments going on. A veteran coach with a record like his, he doesn't just go sit on his hands in the locker room and let his assistants take over. I'm sure he's very vocal, but very controlled, very pointed, and just businesslike. This isn't the first time St. John's has been in this position. We'll have to see if they can respond like they have in the past. To think they only scored 29 against Leominster and now only 25 tonight, I didn't think that would be possible, but it is.
Yeah.
They came out with plus 50 in the second half against Leominster. Have to see if they can flip that switch again tonight against Franklin.
And Todd, I think Billy used the pertinent word, adjustments. Coach Foley showed his genius in it in the Central Mass semifinal against Leominster. He is incredibly fine-tuned with adjustments, and his team adjusts as they are instructed. And so it's going to be very interesting to see what adjustments Coach Foley is able to make in, as you said, a very short amount of time for his team to be able to come out here and make those. On Franklin's side of the ball, I want to see if they make any adjustments. They have essentially not neutralized, but limited Power's offensive contributions, keeping him well outside the paint and along the perimeter for the vast majority of that entire first half. Let's see if they continue on as they have been, or if they make adjustments to try to neutralize Power even more. But right now, their game plan seems to be neutralize Power. Anybody that goes into the paint gets double teamed and let somebody else score.
And here it comes. Second half commences. Franklin with the basketball. They'll go left to right, shoot half court to our right in the second half, right in front of their capacity student section. A double clutch from Edgehill won't go on the lay-in. Tried to keep it alive, did Lazaric on the baseline. He lost it out of bounds, and the ball will go back to St. John's.
Nice up and under move right there. Just couldn't get a conversion. Seen a number of missed layups tonight by both teams.
Both teams went over 3 minutes without scoring in the first half of action. It won't happen that way in the second. Daniels gets the inside pass, lays it in and good, and the Pioneers close the game within 2. The drive and spin. Carrying. Handoff for Rudolph. Now down through the lane, Lazaric. Can't get the ball to fall, and the rebound for San Fratello.
Well, they're just enough by power.
Knight to the foul line. Kick Bangadozo. Entry pass now for Power. Power, baseline drive, finds it open. Daniel lays it in and good again. Remember, when that double team closes on Power, somebody has to be open. Sheer numbers point that out.
And clearly already St. John's doing a very nice job finding the open man and distributing the ball to him immediately.
The 4-point halftime lead has evaporated. Sullivan fires up a shot that may have been deflected. Bangadozo down floor for Daniel, falling down. He walked with the basketball and the ball back to Franklin.
That's a tough ball right there. Slipping and sliding.
29 all, 6:44 to play here in the third quarter. We're a long way from home. We're not even on the backstretch of this race as we continue.
Gotta get ready to strap in for the rest of this.
Carrying. Top of the key, Rudolph. 3. Late arriver was Bangadozo. May have bothered the shot. San Fratello the rebound. Up floor for Power. Power, jump stop in the lane. He got it deflected. They called the foul. Baseline official was ready to call the travel as it was jump stop and still possession there for Power. And the foul got called by the center position official.
Could have went 3 different ways there. Travel, held ball on that block, but ended up getting a foul out of it.
And 2 shots for TJ Power at the line. Chance to give the Pioneers a lead once again.
Power tonight, 2 of 2 from the line thus far.
Franklin's cheering section calling at his back as Power shoots half court left directly in front of the Pioneers faithful.
For a big, he does a very nice job from the foul line. Ice in his veins.
That one won't go, rattles out. But the Pioneers back on top at 30-29.
On cue. Sorry, guys.
Hey, that's part of the job here.
My bad.
Edgeo got a screen, drove the opposite way against it, but saw the lane, slashed to the basket, lays it in and good, and reclaims the lead for Franklin at 31-30.
Edgeo right now with a team high 10 points for the Panthers.
San Fratello around the world and the handoff for Power. Power thought about the 3, saw Knight flash down the lane. Knight out of a double team, got it on the rim and it rolled through.
Good job knifing out of that double team there, falling away from the basket. Got it over the front of the rim.
Ping pong basketball at the moment. Pioneers back up 1. Edgeo lost his defender. Jumper in the lane is open. Panthers back on top.
Nice little
again,
spin.
Billy, Edgeo is the one that you have to limit if you are St. John's.
He's the guy right now.
He is the man.
San Fratello for Power. Power head fake. The officials didn't know what they wanted to do. Baseline official comes in and says, last touch White. Ball goes to Franklin.
Good teamwork there by the officials looking at each other.
5:20 to play here in the third frame.
Very young official crew tonight.
Comparably, I would agree with you, Kate.
Yes.
Spin and drive and an offensive foul called. Synchronized offensive foul calls by the officials at the top of the key as that front forearm warded off the defender, created the space. A good job by the defender.
No
fall way off of the play as well.
You got to sell it.
Absolutely.
Edgeo picks up his second. It's going to be team second of the second half.
Knight stops at the arc. Now takes it in the lane. Back top of the key, O'Byrne to San Fratello. Side rim, no. Rebound, Edgehill.
Edgehill all over the court, offensively and defensively.
Guns a pass, corner, Gasparo. A 3. Won't roll from the right corner. San Fratello at the rebound as Carrion blew by. Into the lane. Jumper from Knight off the mark. And the loose ball rebound. There's Edgehill again, Bill Thomas.
Yeah, it seems like he's finding every loose ball, no matter what end of the court he's on. Oh!
Denied basketball by Power.
Sorry,
he tells Sullivan that's not happening. He gets the drop from O'Byrne, tried to float it to San Fratello. Tough spot out of a triple team. San Fratello finds the room to get the ball on the rim and good.
Nice conversion off that block down the other end.
San Fratello now with 9 points for the Pioneers.
Head fake for Rudolph. And now back to Sullivan, slowing down the action. 15 to shoot on the possession. Rudolph the drive, reverse lay-in, try, does not go. Daniels the rebound. Knight drops it to San Fratello. Sanfratello with the handoff to Power, 3:50 to play in the third.
Three people.
Inside hand for Power, and Edgehill says, get out of here with that.
Not down my end. It works both ways.
3 people covering Power in the paint. 3 people.
He's drawing a lot of attention, Kate. Sure is.
That means there's at least 2 other people that have nobody with them. It's his job to try to find them. 16 to shoot on the possession. Bangadozo back top of the key for O'Byrne.
Supporting cast is going to be asked to do a lot tonight for the Pioneers.
Power got inside of his triple team, got the shot, took a push from behind, missed the shot, but he's got 2 free throws.
Nice job by Power there to stay with the shot. A little out of control, but drew the contact.
Gasparo picks up his second. It's going to be team third of the second half for Franklin. St. John's thus far with 3:42 remaining in the quarter. No fouls in the second half.
Power with the touch on the first one. Gives the Pioneers their largest lead since the first half at 2.
Did they have a 2-point lead at some point?
I believe they did.
At 2-0 maybe.
Perhaps. They didn't draw first blood in the
No,
game.
they didn't. I think they had a 4-2 lead though, and then
At one point.
ended up 9-8. There wasn't a lot happening in that first quarter.
Power goes 2 of 2 on the trip, and the lead is 3. 36-33, 3.5 to play here in the third. Power took a shot at it. Edgehill brought rain, scraped the glass, and down it goes.
And what a team high 14 for Franklin right now.
O'Byrne to Bangadozo.
That was intense.
Good there.
He hit that 3.
Little Statue of Liberty
A little
after that.
posterized at the end of that one.
Oh.
Another cross-body block and a timeout taken by Coach C.J. Neely with the loose basketball.
Good timeout there. Franklin a little bit out of control.
And Coach Neely gets brought back to his bench by one of his assistant coaches. Smart maneuver there. He was screaming across the court at the officials.
The timeout was more about
Get a couple words in.
A couple?
3 or more. 3:09 to play in the third. A 4-point
He
St.
wanted
John's
his
lead at
money worth.
39-35.
Franklin cheerleaders out on the floor. We'll give you a little cheerleading action.
Indeed they are. You see them spreading out.
Once again, we talked pregame about the fact that this was a 1 seed versus a 6 seed. I think once again, this bears out. Franklin's Eastern Mass schedule, primarily Eastern Mass schedule, may have contributed to that 6 seed. We knew going in, having seen both of these teams, that this was going to be a very evenly matched game, and thus far, it is not disappointing.
I think Franklin's done a good job just slowing St. John's down offensively.
Yeah.
They're running a good switch in defense. They're double teaming when they need to. And St. John's is having trouble finding the open man. I think that's the key if Franklin keeps double teaming.
And the interesting thing, like you said, Billy, it's not about eliminating or neutralizing any of the St. John's players, particularly Power. It's about limiting the contributions that they have to stat sheet. And they've been using the double team well, especially in the paint. Power has been relegated to that perimeter almost all night long.
Capacity crowd on hand, standing room only. Here at the Wellness Center at Worcester State, you needed a much bigger building to contain this crowd tonight from these 2 communities. Bangadozo with the reach-in contact. And Power, after a short spell on the bench, had the timeout plus a couple of seconds. He's right back at the table and back into the basketball game.
That's good coaching right there. Just a couple of extra minutes, let him catch his breath.
Bangadozo picks up his second, team first for the Pioneers in the second half. We need a clock reset after that one.
Yeah, they'll reset the 30-second clock. 3 minutes left here in the third quarter. Rudolph for Gasparo. Puts the ball on the floor and hands back to Rudolph, who beats Bangadozo. Now kick. 3 from the corner. Front rim, no for Sullivan. And the rebound down for O'Byrne. Up floor, 2-on-1. Edgehill blows by. Sanfratello with the lay-in good.
That's the way to put the brakes on right there. Let the defense blow by and nice easy layup. Smart move right there by Sanfratello.
Sanfratello right now with a team high 11 for St. John's.
Edgehill tries to respond with a 3. No. The battle for the rebound. Gasparo and Power. You can imagine how that ended. Power won the battle.
He had both hands on that ball. Wasn't giving it up.
Bangadozo into a double team.
Ooh.
Offensive foul. And ball back to Franklin. Once again, great body control by Gasparo, closing off the baseline, planting his feet and letting the officials see the Pioneers provide the impact and create the offensive foul.
Yeah, Bangadozo gets billed for it.
He picks up his third. It's going to be team second of the second half.
Good job by Franklin closing off the baseline right there and drawing the contact.
2:15 and counting to play here in quarter 3. Rudolph with the loose dribble, underhands for Edgehill. Inside, nice bounce feed for Gasparo.
That's the way you pull the defense in. Nice bounce pass.
Final 2 minutes of the third quarter. And Coach Bob Foley wants a timeout.
Off of that one play. Talk about that.
1:56 to play in the third quarter at St. John's 41 and Franklin 37. This is the most in command of the basketball game the Pioneers have looked all night long.
You said what's the capacity? What's the seating capacity?
2,500 is the capacity. I don't know if there's that many seats in here, though, Kate. I bet you there's close to 4,000 people in here tonight. Hopefully the fire department's not listening.
Have you ever heard a parent say, my kids are too busy in athletics and in school activities to get involved in drugs? Unfortunately, being busy is no guarantee that kids will not experiment or abuse mood-altering chemicals. Take the first step. Talk about it in your family and with your school. Do it soon. This message brought to you by the Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association, building the future through athletics. The Division I Central Mass Boys Basketball Final from the Wellness Center on the campus of Worcester State University here on RFM. Todd Robbins, Bill Thomas, Kate Robbins, and you, a part of our family tonight. We thank you so much for being a part of this one. Share it, send it, post your comments as well. So many ways to participate. Love interactive social media broadcasts. Out of the timeout, and here come the Pioneers with the basketball. O'Byrne, the lefty three, side rim no, and the rebound down for Lazarick. Call and response cheers between the student sections as St. John's fans say, we can't hear you, and right back at you. Here comes Franklin with yes you can as Walmsley sees an open three from the left side and finishes.
Might not be able to hear it, but they can see it.
1 point game once again.
Walmsley picks up his second three of the night.
In the post,
Four
O'Byrne.
people on him.
On Power. Power turns in the lane, got the space he needed for the little push shot, and the lead is 3 once again.
Good job by Power there. He's got to spin out of that double and triple team. There's going to be space. He's just got to find that opening.
Jump stop, and then Edgehill tried to go back into the defender. Didn't get the call. Power tonight with a nice spin across the timeline. Feeds O'Byrne. Took the body contact. No call. Daniel the rebound. Ball back out for Power, and a third opportunity on the possession as we're under a minute here in the third quarter.
Power way away from the basket. St. John's still getting the offensive rebound.
Knight the drive, the foul is on the floor. It stops the clock with 42 and 9/10 seconds left here in the third quarter. There'll be a 12-second differential on the inbound.
Gasparo's going to pick up his third, team fourth of the second half for Franklin.
Knight for Power.
Fighting
O'Byrne lost his defender indeed. Now Knight fires baseline Daniels. The double team closed. He was tied up on the play. Alternate possession favors St. John's.
I tell you, great look underneath. A little fumble on that pass, though. He had an open layup. I just couldn't get it up there quick enough. Franklin did a great job recovering defensively.
Yeah, he needed to make that in one move. Didn't have the opportunity to be able to come back down to the floor and go up for the layup.
Great look at it. Who was that? Power that made that interior pass. Great look, though.
They reset the shot clock to 19 seconds to shoot. The inbound, San Fratello took a bothered three. It was short. Rebound for Franklin. Shot clock off. 20 seconds left here in the quarter.
And once again, Edgehill is going to keep it for himself.
We've seen this before.
And he hit at the end of the first quarter and missed before halftime. Got the swing off of Knight. Body fake, took the shot, got the front rim. 1 second left in the third quarter. Knight throws one down the floor that won't make it. And just for good measure, O'Byrne took a shot that wouldn't have counted. 3 quarters in the books from the Wellness Center on the campus of Worcester State. St. John's through 3 quarters, up 3. 43-40. This looks an awful lot like that game against Leominster in the semifinal where they trailed at halftime, didn't play particularly well in the first half, battled back into the basketball game, and then at the end of the fourth found themselves with a 12-point win.
Well, we saw them battle back little by little. You know, they were down as much as 16 midway through the third quarter, and that Leominster game found a way to cut it to, I think, 5 at the end of 3, and, you know, 1 going away. And, you know, it felt like at times St. John's was going to take control of that basketball game there in the third quarter, but Franklin found a way to stem that momentum and found a way to chip away, keep it a 3-point game here and lead into the fourth quarter.
And the teams both at their respective benches. You get a look, obviously, at those capacity student sections directly across from us. And Bill Thomas, you could see just how busy things are around here. We're going to flash up here our courtside broadcast position for a moment. And you can see we've been, hoarded in on as well as the crowd just continues to grow and looks for any empty space they could possibly find. And they certainly have found plenty of it tonight.
And remember, the second game also involving Franklin.
Indeed, Franklin's girls team. Now, what a great opportunity for them. Have back-to-back district championship or sectional championship games. Their girls team, a phenomenal program as well. Defending champions of Division I Central Mass. Back looking for a win in that one. They'll battle Natick, looking for their first section championship in a while.
Now, with regard to the stat sheet, no surprises who the high scorers are through 3 quarters. It's Edgehill for Franklin and Power for St. John's.
Coming up post-game, we'll have a full post-game recap of this one here on RFM. Stay tuned for that one.
Needs some help down there.
Indeed, Lazarek looking for some help and did not find it until he found Sullivan behind him.
It's a lonely feeling.
Indeed. Sullivan back behind him for Walmsley. Back rim, no. Daniels the rebound.
They're letting a lot of contact along the perimeter go during and after shots.
Looks a lot like a Big East basketball game. Power tried the behind-the-back drop pass, and he hit somebody's leg, and the ball back to Franklin. Pioneers lead still 3. Edgehill, 2 jab steps to get some space. Now back. Has to reverse directions. Feeds Sullivan. Sullivan spins off O'Byrne. Got the front of the rim and nothing more. Power the rebound. Great defense there from St. John's.
Controlling the boards too. Just 1 shot for Franklin.
Power crossover to the left block. Slips the double team. Traveling violation is called. And the ball back to Franklin. No baskets.
Power's been doing that all night, finding a way to knife between players, but got taking that extra step, lunging to the basket that time.
Edgehill gets the inbound from Lazarek and will walk the ball up floor in no particular hurry, only chasing 3. Over the timeline he comes, working on Daniel. It's Carrion. In front of Power. From the tough angle, he drills it.
Fearless right there.
Got 7 points for Franklin.
Lead is 1 at 43-42 St. John's. Santello for O'Byrne. A 3. Front rim, high rebound, and brought down in the hands of Matt Lazarek. A walk over the timeline, this time in the hands of Sullivan. Closely guarded by O'Byrne. Bangadozo tried to jump the passing lane on its way to Byfield and couldn't get there. Now Sullivan for Carrion's 3. Front rim, no. Rebound run down by Powers. Even numbers down the floor. Power lost the handle, but re-corralled. Found Sanfratello and got it to go.
Accidental offense there.
Sometimes it works.
Sanfratello with a team high 13 now.
O'Byrne stays with Sullivan. Sullivan, the handoff for Carrion. The push shot in the lane goes. 1-point game again at 45-44.
Carrion now up to 9 points. He's the only Panther to score thus far in the fourth.
And Bangadozo steps through 2 defenders and gets fouled in the process. They'll bill it to Lazarek.
It's going to be his 3rd team, 5th for Franklin.
5:25 to play in quarter 4. St. John's with a 45-44 lead. Knight has inbounding duties on the baseline left. Bangadozo to Sanfratello. Sanfratello, the left jumper, will not go. And Sanfratello immediately starts barking at the officials. He felt like he took a lot of body contact.
I would say that's ill-advised.
Edgehill for a carrying three, won't go. Rebound, tapped by Byfield, kept alive by Sullivan on the sideline, and Gasparo with it. Edgehill fires up three, side rim, no. Sanfratello the rebound. Sanfratello up floor for Bangadozo, draws contact, and Bangadozo's got 2 shots come from the line.
Nice job, taking it right to the rim there, drawing the contact, getting himself to the line.
Smooth transitions up and down the floor go these two teams as they continue to slug it out in the middle of the ring.
Sullivan picks up his third. It's going to be team 6th for Franklin. The next foul will put St. John's into bonus.
Bangadozo's first stays in the cylinder and falls. The lead is 2.
You can see the MI is definitely given up trying to control the end lines. This place is full.
It's overrun the concession stand on one of the platforms on the other end of the floor. It's overrun the other section where there was a divide kept for teams.
We get a break, I'll show everybody what we're talking about, but let's follow the basketball action right now.
Indeed, Edgehill up floor for Walmsley. Walmsley, the left-hand drive, down left side of the lane, scrapes last and gets it to go. 4.5 to play here in the fourth.
Just to reinsert it into the game, makes his presence known right away.
If you're gonna get out on the floor, you wanna get on quick. Sanfratello, space for the three, and he hit. Sullivan was too late with the defense.
Sanfratello now with 16 points and a notable absence from the stat sheet in this quarter. Edgehill, no points so far.
Carrion's been feeling it in the fourth. He missed the 3. Foul on the rebounding action against Knight as he got all body there on Walmsley.
Yeah, I dove into that spot. Fortunately, it was already taken up by Walmsley.
Bangadozo out, O'Byrne back into the basketball game. O'Byrne, as 6th man, has been seeing extended minutes tonight. Edgehill with inbounding duties. For Gasparo, nice pivot, squares himself to the basket. For Edgehill, Edgehill spins off a Knight with some space for 3 and buries it. Halfway through this fourth quarter, 1-point basketball
James
game.
Harden style right there with that jump away.
And forces the timeout. Into the front court comes Knight, and legendary coach Bob Foley Sr. says timeouts.
All right, let's get a look at this crowd. We've been talking about the crowd, but I'm telling you, they're just ringing this place, this upper deck and the balcony creates a great atmosphere, Todd and Kate. See the Franklin student section coming around down the right-hand side, just 5 deep all the way around the court behind us. What an atmosphere.
Anywhere there's space, there's a body right now.
So before we get too close to the end of this game, let's take stock of everything going on. We've got a 1-point game with 3:55 remaining in the fourth quarter. St. John's with that timeout now has 2 timeouts remaining. Franklin, on the other hand, has 4 remaining. With regard to fouls, Franklin now with 6. The next foul will put St. John's in the bonus. St. John's has been stingy with their fouls in the fourth, only 3 of them, but they have a couple of people with 3 fouls. So this one's going to get a little bit interesting as we go.
Bangadozo being the key one on the floor.
And you're absolutely right about that. On the other side, Franklin has Lazaric and Gasparo each with 3. And we just mentioned a few moments ago, Edgehill had been scoreless in the fourth quarter for Franklin. Picks up that 3 right before that timeout. He has a team-high 17 points right now for the Panthers. Look to him to carry this team for the next 3 minutes and 55 seconds.
Looking over your shoulder, Sullivan is also on the floor for Franklin, playing with 3 fouls as well.
You got that right. You're not the only one looking over my shoulder today.
We are surrounded.
I love people.
Indeed. Daniel into the triple team for Sanfratello, and with the discard, Power gets called for the foul.
Tough one right there under the basket.
3:42 to play in the fourth quarter. St. John's +1, and a chance for Franklin to pull ahead on this possession.
Token pressure by the Pioneers. We haven't seen much of that tonight.
Power just picked up his 3rd foul, team 4th of the second half for the Pioneers.
Coach Foley will let his star center stay on the floor.
I think he has no
A
choice.
three for Walmsley. In and out it goes. Battle for the basketball. They say he's out of bounds, and they say it's St. John's basketball. They say that the Panthers were on the sideline. Meanwhile, the Panthers section say that there was a push going into that sideline uncalled.
Synchronicity over there. All acting like officials.
I don't know about that, Todd.
They go all Cameron crazies with the hands over top of the inbound from O'Byrne. Swinging around for Bangadozo. And Daniels. He'll drive from the left block. Splits the defense and good.
Saw the opening. Quick first step there.
Three-point lead.
Cover interior.
52-49. Final 3 minutes of regulation.
Oh, nice.
Gasparo finds a slashing Edge Hill who finishes.
Good
1
look.
point game again.
Great look right there.
I think you're going to see Edge Hill try to take this game over for Franklin, and I think you're going to see Power try to do the same thing for the Pioneers. Those leaders are going to want that ball in their hand. But
Power. Three players out beyond the arc.
Chasing them everywhere.
Bangadozo saw a chance to step up, took a jumper. O'Byrne kept it alive on the baseline, but into the hands this time of Gasparo.
That's the thing. Power's going to have enough of court awareness to know when he's triple teamed like that, he's got not one but two people open.
Edge Hill, the lane jumper, will not fall, but the foul is called. This one against San Fratello. No, they say 40s. They charge it to Daniels. Had to have been the second defender sliding over because primary coverage was San Fratello.
That's going to be the fifth foul against the Pioneers here. Again, sends Edge Hill to the line.
With a chance to tie, misses the first opportunity. Quick substitutions here from Coach Foley, trying to keep players fresh and manage his foul situation. Knight back on the floor, O'Byrne back out. This time, Edge Hill will finish. And Coach C.J. Neely spends one of his 4 remaining timeouts. 2:15 to play in the fourth quarter. A whole new basketball game once again as we're knotted at 52.
I got to tell you, back and forth. It just felt like St. John's was going to find a way to take control of this game, but Franklin just battles back. Turned this into a 2-minute season for both teams right now.
You see the story of how these two teams got here. We talked about it off the top of the broadcast. Cinderella story in Franklin. They found their way as the 6th seed into this central sectional final. They downed Doherty. They downed Natick. They downed South. That's the 11, 3, and 2 seed to get into this basketball game. Meanwhile, the Pioneers, first round bye. They took out the 9 seed Algonquin, the 5 seed Leominster. The 4 seed Leominster in the semifinal, and they find themselves here. Winner of this one gets the Division I Western Mass champion middle of next week.
Time and place to be determined.
Time, place
TBD.
to be determined indeed. 2:15 to play in the fourth quarter. All tied up at 52 here on RFM. Long court inbound here for the Pioneers off the made basket. No challenge here. Franklin will set up a half-court defense. Bangadozo feeds Knight as he takes it over half. Bangadozo swinging around into the post now. Power from Daniels. Power step back, room for 2, and it's a long 2, but it counts all the same. Pioneers back on top.
Power's first points of the fourth quarter for St. John's.
And that's important 2 points if he can get himself going. Sullivan. Now Walmsley. Sets up a Sullivan 3 from the left corner. He hung the arm out there. He knew he had it all the way.
Gooseneck.
And Franklin has battled all the way back to pick up the lead with 90 seconds left here in the fourth. The ball was tipped along the timeline. Knight carried it over half and then back into the front court. It's an over and back violation is the call.
That's
and Coach Bob Foley is irate on his bench.
I think he's got a good case, too. That was a steal and momentum.
He is.
Got a good
loss
case
of
right there.
possession potentially.
He is incensed.
Pioneer
He's gonna
faithful
chew.
in the building, not happy. 1:20 to play in the fourth. Franklin is +1 with the basketball. It's Walmsley with the underhand give to Carrion. Carrion into the corner, Gasparo. And now Edgehill with it, under 10 shoot. He'll step back for a three. Front rim glass and the rebound down Power. Under a minute to play in regulation. Franklin with the 1-point lead. The Cinderella 6 seed looking to keep this playoff run going and pick up a Central Mass championship in the process.
We told you they were evenly matched. You got what you paid for.
Power kept it alive tonight. 12 to shoot. Open Bangadozo. He bit the dust on the shot and the rebound down in the hands of Gasparo.
Wow.
Final 30 seconds of regulation now.
Gotta play defense.
And Bangadozo will make the contact. Edgehill fired it wildly at the rim, looking for shots he's not going to get. Bangadozo picks up his fourth in the process. He'll stay on the floor. No. O'Byrne's going to check back in the basketball game, it looks like.
It's going to be team 6th now for St. John. So on either side here, the next team to foul puts the other into the bonus.
26 and 6/10 seconds to play here in the fourth quarter. Franklin +1. Gasparo. And then a foul immediately. Sanfratello makes the contact and will send Gasparo to the line. Oh no, check it. They'll send Walmsley to the line. Drew the body contact. 24 and 9/10 seconds. Franklin up 55-54. Walmsley to hit them both. Still a 1-point basketball game at 3.
One possession.
Yeah, one possession. Excuse me. Thank you. The first one rims out. Sanfratello the rebound. Still a 1-point game. Up for Daniels for Power, and Coach Bob Foley spends the timeout with 19 and 8/10 seconds to play in the fourth.
Power had his eyes on the basket with one man to beat. He might have taken a layup away from his best player.
And you could see this crowd electric here.
So we're coming back. No shot clock. Play for that last. Put it
Yeah,
up in about
last
5
shot
seconds
here.
in case it doesn't go.
Alternate possession
Look for the
favors the
offensive-
Pioneers right now. Both teams in the bonus the rest of the way here on the reset.
Strategy everywhere you look. Do you
Certainly,
foul?
and
No,
if
you
you're-
don't foul.
No, you don't
No,
foul. Don't want to
foul.
give them guaranteed
No, I
shots.
don't want to put somebody in
Pressure
the
the basketball best you can.
We're playing
Somebody
great
gets position.
defense.
You want to avoid an and one situation here.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Chance likely for maybe one more possession of the basketball game, depending on how St. John's plays this final possession.
You come right out and score as soon as you can.
And try to
It's
take
there.
the lead, play defense on the other end.
I think you do. You
or
gotta
do
take
you
the basket.
run it down to one final shot?
That's risky. You know how
Ooh.
risky that can be, Todd.
Indeed it does.
We got it right here.
So here we go. The fans take their feet.
Right in front of the St. John's faithful.
Indeed. Knight will have the inbound. Straight line stack in front of him, top of key. Bangadozo with touch right back to Knight. And here we go, final 15 seconds of regulation. It's Knight into the corner, Bangadozo. Now for Knight, into the corner, Daniels. For Sanfratello. Sanfratello has a double team close. They'll feed Power. Power gets fouled, shooting three. He will miss the three, but with 4 and 9/10 seconds left in regulation, they say it's a 3-shot foul. Now there's a
Wow.
conversation with the officials. We'll see what the final decision is. It's at least 2 free throws. 21 is Gasparo charged with the foul. They say it's a 2-shot
Two-shot
foul.
foul.
And Coach Neely is going to take the timeout.
We're not going to win that argument unless they come up here and look at our tape.
The officials are going to get together and have a conversation. Massachusetts high school basketball does not allow video review at this time. Coach Foley is irate,
He's
and he
telling
is
them they're looking at the
screaming
wrong line.
that it is 3 points, and he is correct.
He's looking at the wrong line, I think.
2 3-point lines out there on the
Confusing.
floor. The interior one is the women's college basketball three-point line. The exterior one, the men's college basketball three-point line. High school basketball in Massachusetts, three-point distance is the same as the women's distance in college basketball. So the one on the interior.
They're still contemplating. We'll see what happens out of this timeout, what they signal. No indication yet.
The St. John's faithful across the way, all with 3 fingers up indicating
They say it was a three.
It's a 3-point shot, so this is going to be
To
very
my
interesting.
eye, from our high above position with bodies in between me, it certainly looked like a 3-point opportunity.
2.
And the officials come out with a 2-shot foul. They have their conversation. There will be 2 shots. 4 and 9/10 seconds to play here in the fourth. 55-54, 6 seed Franklin on top of 1 seed St. John's. Both teams battling for so many things. Franklin looking to keep their playoff run alive, win a section championship here tonight. St. John's looking to win their first section championship since 2016. Power has a chance to do it with 2 shots from the line. Power's perfect from the line tonight and rattles that one home. We're tied at 55.
Wow. What a ball game, Todd and Kate. This is what we had hoped for.
Everything we promised you and then some. The officials say nobody move until this ball hits the rim. They don't want to have to call a lane violation. Power with a chance to claim a 1-point lead. Shot is away. He's 7 of 7 on the night from the line. And St. John's has a 1-point lead and they're on defense. The runner, good if it goes, is up the mark. The touch went back up and it didn't fall for Wobsley. Wobsley with a chance at the buzzer. Tried to touch it back up. It would have been good if it went. It will not. The Red Sea pours out of the stands and the celebration with the red and white on the court. St. John's is section champion.
There are not enough adults over there to be able to keep that entire crowd off the court. The MIAA, police officers, administrators, they are all going over there to shove that crowd back into the stands. What a way to finish a ball game.
You know, and I think Wormsley realized how much time he had there. He could have set himself. Unfortunately, couldn't get it to fall. What an ending to a great ball game.
My word.
It's one of these games neither team deserves to lose.
Can you fathom all of these Franklin fans? They have to do it
all
all
over again.
I know it.
They got to reset and do it all over again.
Nobody's leaving.
They are not moving, but first they've got to sit through a celebration out on the floor as St. John's will claim their section championship.
Wow.
56-55, St. John's with the win. The hero of the night is TJ Power. He goes perfect from the free throw line.
Yes,
when
he
you
does.
get those opportunities, you have to hit them. He hit them when he had to.
TJ Power, 7 of 7 from the free throw line tonight for St. John's. We said that they were going to put it on his back in the fourth quarter to take the Pioneers home, and he does it from the free throw line, ice in his veins.
And I think he had 12, and I'm not sure your stat from the other night, but I think he was 12 for 13 against Leominster. Basically carried them from the foul line that night too.
9 of 10 against
9
Leominster.
of 10. I know he was pretty much spot on all night, and he showed it again tonight.
The St. John faithful in celebration there. It's been a back and forth, student section for student section, tit for tat celebration all night long.
Franklin could shout champ back. We have another chance.
Yeah, I was going to say, they get to play again.
We're not going anywhere.
And the St. John student section is being sent to the exit with a victory tonight before their team celebrates claiming trophy.
They got to clear off Natick.
Retiring tournament director for Central Mass, Roger Bacon, out on the floor. He is presenting the athletic director from Franklin, along with Coach C.J. Neely, the runner-up trophy for Division I Central Mass here in 2020. And now the athletic director and principal will walk over to their bench and make the presentation to the captains. Always difficult. But what a tremendous battle we were treated to here tonight. Franklin, no reason to hang their head. They had a tremendous season and a tremendous postseason story they have out on the floor.
And athletic director Mike Lee, along with Mr. Roger Bacon, will present to the boys Division I District Champions St. John's.
21st District Central District Champion for Division I.
Championship number 21 for Central Mass is claimed by the Pioneers tonight Tournament director Roger Bacon makes the presentation. Thank him for his tremendous service. He was acknowledged at halftime here, along with his wife, Mr. and Mrs. Bacon, have been the chair of the Central Mass Basketball Committee for a long time, and they will earn a well-deserved retirement presenting this last championship in Division I. They've got a couple more to get to pass out before their job is done, as Pioneers claim and celebrate their 21st section championship here. A standing ovation from Franklin student section, well-deserved for their Panther boys, who head to the locker room with a runner-up trophy, but a tremendous story of perseverance in these playoffs. And as you said, guys, they're not done yet. Girls come out and they play the Division I Central Mass Championship against Natick in a matter of moments. We won't have that one for you here on RFM, but what we will have for you is a complete recap of this action. More fun and excitement to come. We'll step aside for a moment. Final score again. Top seed St. John's downs Franklin in the Central Mass Division I final, 56-55. Post-game next. This is RFM. Post-game rolls on here on Rivalry Family Media. St. John's, their 21st Central Mass Sectional Championship, first since 2016, with a 56-55 win over Franklin. What a battle it was as we come back high above courtside here. Todd Robbins, Bill Thomas, Kate Robbins, post-game here on RFM. What a night we've been treated to here. It was everything we had hoped for and then some. A back-and-forth basketball game ultimately won at the foul line by TJ Power. Hits 2 clutch free throws, ties the game, takes the lead. St. John's scrambles back on defense, and there was no chance for a half-court opportunity as far as setting up any kind of half-court offense for Franklin. All they could do was throw up a desperation shot, and that shot was off the mark. 56-55, St. John's a winner tonight. So many things, Bill Thomas, that we expected off the top. We expected it would be back and forth. It was every bit of that and then some.
It did. Came right down to the last possession, to that foul. We saw Power hit those pressure foul shots. He'd done that all game. Did it against Leominster earlier in the week in the other playoff game. But I think Franklin had a chance at the end. They had a little more time. 4.9 seconds. That's an eternity in basketball sometimes. They rushed that first shot from half court, but Walmsley had that putback with time. That would have been a backbreaker for St. John's, but it turns out to be a crushing defeat for Franklin.
And that point is not lost. In the flurry of the action with the horn and the light going off, you thought the initial shot was the last shot,
right, no.
but there was a touch.
It
bounced off the rim, and there was a chance for Walmsley to put it back.
Having the lights on the backboard really increases that. Yeah.
It would have been the kind of thing that the officials would have had to determine, because again, there is no video review.
Could you imagine?
In Massachusetts high school basketball.
Just a few seconds
off.
after they had to make the determination whether or not the foul was 2-point or 3-point attempt, and the crowd going crazy about that, then having to just go the other side of the court to make a determination as to whether or not the secondary shot was able to get up before the buzzer. Thank goodness they're thank goodness they're alive.
Yeah, I think it was a good shot. I think if that had gone in, that was a game winner right there. The putback was going to be before the buzzer was sounded too. So what an ending to a great game.
Indeed, and a well-deserved battle. Everything we had hoped for, and then some, as we said, here on RFM. Kate, your opportunity to bring us update all the stats here from this one as we count it down, and you see just how close this was. The numbers really do bear it out.
Evenly matched.
Indeed.
We told you from the get-go.
We delivered on what we promised.
From the get-go. All right. Let's take a look at the Franklin Panthers side of the ball first. Team totals for the Panthers: 19 rebounds, 2 steals, 11 turnovers. As a team, they shot 4 of 7 from the line. That's 57%. Obviously, we know they lose by 1 point. Individual notable statistics for the Panthers: Rudolph ends the night with 5 points. Carrion ends the night with 9. Edgehill ends his night with a team-high 20 points, and he was 4 of 6 from the line. Walmsley ends the night with 8 for the Panthers. Gasparo with 7, and Sullivan with 6 points. Now, if we take a look at the St. John's Pioneers side of the ball, team totals: first 36 rebounds for the Pioneers, no steals, 14 turnovers, in the entire game. As a team, 9 of 9 from the free throw line were the St. John's Pioneers. That's clearly a difference maker there. Individual notable statistics for the Pioneers: San Fratello ends his night with 16 points. That's tied for a team-high 16 points. Bangladozo ends the night with 8. O'Byrne ends the night with 3. Knight with 5. TJ Power ends the night tied for a team-high 16 points. He was 7 of 7 from the free throw line and hit the last 2 with 4 seconds left on the clock in the fourth quarter to close this game out for the Pioneers. Daniels ends his night with 8 points, and once again, St. John scored just 1 more point, but it was a very, very important one as they edge out Franklin Panthers boys basketball by just 1.
Indeed, 56-55, the final score here from Worcester State. What do we know about what is to come with the statewide rounds? Well, we know North versus South in Eastern Mass. Okay, what teams are still considered North and South and Eastern Mass? They will play their their state semifinal at the TD Garden in Boston. Central and West match up. They will play their game at a site to be determined. We know that the Division I Central rep is St. John's.
Yep.
Teams like Springfield Central, Chicopee, Ludlow, and others are the teams out in the West bracket. It's a small Division I West bracket, just 8 teams.
Central against Putnam. It's going to be tonight at 7:30. We might have results by now. I should get on that. Actually, no, we won't have results by now.
Not as of yet.
It's going on right now. They're in the
Correct.
first half.
And so that game being played at the Curry-Hicks Cage, the former home of UMass basketball out on the campus of UMass Amherst. And meanwhile, that Central West Championship, it fluctuates back and forth. It may be right here back in this building at Worcester State. It may be over at WPI over at the Harrington Auditorium. Games have also been played out west. American International College has been a site for the crossover rounds before. We've seen games played at Springfield. We believe the state championship is still scheduled for Springfield College as part of that Hall of Fame scenario, along with the Mass Mutual Center out west. So we will see ultimately where these games get positioned for that next round. But the Central West site has to be determined. The current home of UMass Amherst has also been a site as well. So there's a number of different possibilities as yet undetermined. But we know St. John's is in.
Yes.
Central and Putnam.
Central and Putnam
are the two from the West
right
in Division I. Have just tipped off. So St. John's will be able to look at that coming up and see where that battle goes. All I know, Bill Thomas, is whether it's Central or Putnam. Teams, by the way, that St. John's did play earlier this year. I just have to find my sheet. I know they played Putnam. It was a 63-58 St. John's win early on in the season. They played other teams from out west. Here's the game against Central. That was one of their 2 regular season losses. 47-44.
So either way, we know they're going to have a tall task ahead of them.
Yeah.
They have history with both teams. We'll have to see which way it goes.
Indeed we will. But all I know of this, St. John's has found a way in their last 2 games to survive tough early starts. Scoreless first quarters first quarters that were scoreless for a lot of the first quarter. Make adjustments, battle back, down at halftime, make up the gap in the third quarter, and then try to pull away enough in quarter number 4.
Well, you said it right there, Todd. They did just enough at the end. When the pressure was on, they looked to the big guy. He took control there in the end. He had a couple of good, strong defensive rebounds, and he made the foul shots when they counted. He wanted the ball. He got the contact, and he won the game for him.
Kate, they say winners want the ball. You don't look to dish in that scenario. Power got it. They worked the basketball. They got it to their guy in the double team, and TJ Power found enough space, took the contact, and got his shots at the line.
And the interesting thing, once again, is that Franklin did a phenomenal job in attempting to limit the contribution to Power on the offensive end. It was clear and obvious every time he touched the ball that there was going to be either a double team or even a triple team, and the adjustment that St. John's was going to have to make is he was not going to be able to just take over the game as he did against Leominster. He was going to have to be able to dish to the supporting cast and have them start hitting shots repeatedly, because every time he was anywhere near the paint, he was swarmed. So the only area that he really had was from about 10, 15 feet and beyond to the three-point arc. So it was a very interesting first 3 quarters of play on behalf of TJ Power. But at the end of the day, you're Coach Foley, and you have a very tight ball game, tied ball game for most of the fourth quarter. At the end of the day, you have to put the ball in his hands. You have to make the field general out there and TJ Power figure out a way to win the game. And he was just absolutely lights out from the line, and has a big, incredibly impressive 7 of 7 from the line, and he was still effective enough for his team, not only dishing the ball off to his supporting cast, but making the baskets when they needed them, not necessarily from the paint. It just showed you, tonight's game showed you just how dynamic TJ Power really, truly can be, and why he is such a big prospect in Massachusetts basketball. It's because he doesn't just rely on his size in the paint. He's able to shoot from mid-range. He's able to shoot from deep. He's able to make contributions from the three-point line, and we know he can play defense on the other end of the ball. His dynamicism is what brought them across the finish line tonight and gave them that 1-point victory.
As you go into next week, Bill Thomas, if you're legendary Coach Bob Foley, you're, of course, looking for things to build off of. There are plenty of them. First half, points left on the board, not finishing shots at the rim. Some of that existed in the second half as well, so certainly need to worry about finishing at the rim. And then you got to look at your big and Power, who ultimately got you the win when you needed it. but you got to work with him about floor awareness on the inside at this point in time. You're going to draw a lot of attention, as Kate pointed out, throughout the night. And if you've got 3 guys on you or 2 or more, that means there's 1, 2, and sometimes 3 guys that are open somewhere else on the floor.
And that's easy for us to see from up here, Todd and Kate. But down there, a lot of arms and heads and bodies, constant motion. He did force the issue a couple times. We tried to step through that double and triple team. You got called for a couple of fouls, called for a travel in one instance where he tried to force the ball up. But overall, I think his quarter witness was very good tonight. He did pull the defense in, which is only going to open up your outside shooters. They got to hit. That's really where the pressure is. There's a lot of pressure on him to draw that kind of attention, and he knows he's going to. It's not a surprise, but the supporting cast needs to help him out when that happens. We saw just enough of that tonight by St. John's.
And there's always that balance of sharing the basketball versus finding and creating for yourself. And it felt a little bit like maybe the supporting cast tried a little too much to get it to their star player, because when he would cycle the ball back out and they had open opportunities, they'd either put the ball on the floor, drive it into more defense, and not take the open looks when they had it.
But commend Power, however, because although you could see that in the early going from the supporting cast, you never saw that from him. It wasn't as if he got the ball and was like, I got to get rid of it. He made an attempt. He made calculated decisions in the offensive zone. When he had 2 or 3 bodies around him, he then looked for the open man. But if he gave him a look and he gave him a lane, he was going to take it. So kudos to him once again for keeping his poise and understanding when he had the opportunity to take a shot and when he needed to dish it to the open man. And eventually that supporting cast was able to get their feet under them, and they knew they needed to carry some of the load.
And one more point on Power. He picked up his second foul very early in the first half and did a great job playing with those 2 fouls. I don't think he picked his third one up till late in third or early in the fourth. And that's just another level of his game. He knew he couldn't get himself in foul trouble. He's going to watch the majority of this game from the bench, especially if he picked that third foul up. He was done for the first half. Great job by him just maintaining his presence on the floor and realizing the situation.
For as intense as St. John's defense is, they did a great job playing defense with their feet. Very disciplined. Their foul numbers very low. Ultimately, they did arrive at the bonus late there in the second half.
Very late, though.
But truly, they played very clean defense.
Neither team got into the double bonus, so that's a testament to both teams.
But the interesting thing is I thought that the officials were fairly masterful out there. They set the limit on Power being able to body up when he was on offense, and they made it very clear. This is the line, and you will not cross it. And so, as you said, he had to make an adjustment on the offensive end in order to make sure that he mitigated the number of fouls. But simultaneously, you saw a lot of body contact, not only in the paint, but especially around the perimeter, especially on those 3-point shots. There was a lot of things where those officials said, play on. And so I thought that they did a phenomenal job balancing just how much contact they were going to allow, while not then simultaneously letting Power just body and barrel over people.
And not hamstringing him, too, by
Absolutely.
They could have put a third one on him probably at any time, but they got the message across, and I think it just made for a more controlled game by Power. Probably did him a favor.
Indeed it did, and it certainly did seem to sell the scenario quite a bit. What an opportunity here, and what a game played. 21st Central Mass Championship for St. John's, their first since 2016. The Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association annually sanctions sportsmanship awards to students, adults, and schools for exemplary behavior. The intent is to enhance the educational ideals sought by the MIAA and to encourage sportsmanship as a major objective in their experience as a participant. This is just another example of activities enhancing student development in a unique and motivating laboratory for learning. Your support and encouragement of these important ideals is appreciated. The MIAA, building the future through athletics. St. John's, a winner tonight, champions of Division I Central Section for the 21st time and the first time since 2016 with a 56-55 win over Franklin. If you've enjoyed this one and all the great broadcasts we have here on RFM, you can be a part of our extended family as well. Subscribe on YouTube. Search Rivalry Family Media. Subscribe on that one. You'll have the opportunity to get notified on your smart-enabled device every time we upload an on-demand broadcast. Our live broadcast, Facebook.com/Media Rivalry for the live coverage that you've seen tonight on Facebook Live, and you can follow us on Twitter at Media Rivalry as well. For Bill Thomas and Kate Robbins, I'm Todd Robbins, saying thank you so much once again for being a part of our family. And until next time, so long, everybody.